Sorry. What? No, right?
Wow. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Paul. Good morning. Did you get a good night's sleep?
Do we have six? Okay.
Such a beautiful day out.
Got it. All right.
Did you go out for a walk this morning?
He just need to come back. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of the California Transportation Commission hearings in Folsom, California. We are going to get started with roll call. Douglas.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Bradshaw. Here. Vice Chair Cruz. Commissioner Brown-Hines. Commissioner Eager. Commissioner Grisby. Commissioner Guardino.
Present.
Commissioner Mann. Commissioner Tiffany. Chair Falcone.
Present.
Senator Cortese. Assemblymember Wilson. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Douglas. And back to you for instructions for public participation.
Thank you. Welcome to day 2 of the June 2026 CTC meeting in fabulous Folsom. The meeting agenda is located on our website at www.catc.ca.gov. All of the presentations for today's meeting are also available on the Commission Meetings page of our website under the View, Download Meeting Materials tab. Any document that CTC creates can be translated into any language you need. Simply email us at ctc@catc.ca.gov and we'll have them returned to you as quickly as possible. American Sign Language translation is being provided on the webinar for this meeting. You should see the translators on your screen. Live closed captioning is also available. Please select the Show Captions tab at the bottom of your screen. There's a number of language options available there to choose from. For our presenters, if you're on the agenda to make a presentation, please do your best to be succinct. Please remember to speak at a steady pace to allow our translating services adequate time for accurate translations. If you are presenting remotely, we hope that you will turn on your camera during your presentation if you have one. For the members of the public, we welcome comments from the public as a part of each item at this meeting. For those attending in person, please submit a speaker slip to the clerk at the front of the room. That's me. Speaker slips are here or on the materials table out front. That will let us know what item you want to comment on. For those attending via Zoom, you should see the webinar control panel likely located at the bottom of your screen. There you will find the raised hand and Q&A tabs. We encourage you to use the raise hand feature as early into the item as you can to give the system time to acknowledge you. Alternately, you may use the Q&A tab to submit your comment. Please be sure to indicate the agenda item you are commenting on, and Commission staff will read the comment on your behalf. As a reminder, each registered attendee is provided a unique link and phone number to access the webinar. These should not be shared with other participants as they are registered specifically to your name and can create confusion for staff when trying to make comments. For all of our meeting attendees, please do your best to be concise. Please make sure that your comments add new information. If you agree with the comments of a previous speaker, simply make that statement. Please remember to speak at a steady pace to allow our translating services adequate time for accurate translations. And since we often have many speakers, we make your point in 2 minutes or less. If, for some reason, we have a lot of speakers on any single item, we reserve the right to limit comments to 1 minute as needed. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Douglas. We're going to start a little bit out of order today with items 97 and 99 with Kayla.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tabs 97 and 99 will be presented together with a vote at the end. Tab 97 is an action item to amend the local partnership formulaic program. This amendment will make the following updates to the current formulaic program of projects. First, add a total of $86,000 in supplemental 22 formulaic program funds to 2 projects in Imperial County to the construction phases in fiscal year 25-26. Lastly, add a total of $15,109,000 in 2022 and 2024 formulaic program funds to various project phases for 12 projects in various counties as listed in the book item. This action programs the balance of 2022 local partnership formulaic program funding that was available for programming by the 2022 cycle deadline of June 30th, 2026. This leaves $73,582,000 of 2024 formulaic program funding available for programming through June 30th, 2028. Please note that this item is on the change list for a minor edit to the agenda title. Tab 99 is a supplemental allocation request for $9,661,000 in local partnership formulaic program funds for the BART Silicon Valley Phase 2 New Hall Yard Tunneling NTP1 Package 1 of 2 project in Santa Clara County. This supplemental amount was programmed in tab 97. $100 million in SCCP and LPP competitive funds was allocated to the project in March 2026. The project will construct a tunnel launch structure and tunnel supports to begin extending the BART rail system by 6 miles through downtown San Jose to the city of Santa Clara. Staff recommends approval of tabs 97 and 99.
Thank you, Kayla. Justin, are there any public comment virtually?
Not seeing any request to comment from our virtual attendees.
All right, thank you. We do have a speaker slip from Celeste Fiore. Good morning.
Thank you for the arrow. Chair, Vice Chair, and Director Eltwanzi, I would be remiss and in bad form if I didn't thank the Commission, and in particular Commissioner Guardino, for changes of the order for these 2 items, in particular for 99. It's literally a timing issue for today. We need to have the CTC take an action before the VTA board takes an action later this morning. So we really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, any questions or comments from the dais? I do know that the gentleman to the right of me wants to make a motion, correct?
But it's stage left, I think. Chair Falcone, thank you. And Celeste, thank you for being here as well. It is a timing issue, and the timing is long overdue to continue BART Phase 2 into Silicon Valley with the 6.1 mile extension into the city of Santa Clara. Many of us have been working on this private-public nonprofit stakeholder partnership for 3 decades, and it is only fitting that Will Kimpton is here today, who has had so much to do with transportation improvements around our state and in Santa Clara County, where he served as the executive director of the first self-help county sales tax initiative from 1984 to 1995. Will Kimpton, are you here? There you are. Could you stand? More later about Will Kimpton. I'm going to see how many shades of red I can make his face turn, but I'll do that under Commissioner comments if we do that a second time today. But this effort was part of a sales tax initiative in the year 2000, again in 2008, again in 2016, regional measure in 2018, and again in 2020 with a regional and another county-wide measure. We put our wallets where our words are, and this just shows the state's ongoing commitment to the improvements in this vital region. So with great pride, I would be honored to make a motion to move this forward this morning.
Beautiful. All right, we have a motion and second by Commissioner Bradshaw. All in favor? Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, those 2 items pass. Back to the information calendar. We have Erwin Rufino.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Erwin Rufino, representing the Commission's engineering team. My presentation addresses the book items listed under the information calendar, starting with tab 24 and ending with tab 44. Please make note of the recent change list published pertaining to tabs 24, 25, 27, and 31. This batch of information items have been reviewed and found to have no issues raised by Commission staff. As such, individual items will not be presented unless requested by anyone present in this meeting. I will pause here and respectfully turn it back to the Commission for some thoughts before concluding. Okay, this concludes my presentation and for the information calendar.
Thank you, Erwin. Any public comment, Justin?
Thank you, Chair. At this time, I do not see any requests to comment on any of these listed items.
Very nice. Any questions? Erwin already prompted them, but if there are any questions or comments from the dais, please make them now. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right. Commissioner Bradshaw makes a motion.
Oh,
Oh, it's info.
oh, it's just information.
Hey,
I support the information.
noted publicly on the record. Thank you. All right. All right. Consent calendar, which is an action. We have Erwin.
Okay, to continue on my presentation, this presentation addresses the book items listed under the consent calendar, starting with tab 45 and ending with tab 76. We would like to turn your attention to the following. First, tab 57 has been published on the change calendar as being withdrawn. However, this is no longer the case, and tab 57 has been reinstated for consideration for the Commission's action. Secondly, please make note of the recent change list as published pertaining to tabs 47 and 58. And lastly, tab 54 is being segregated from this action item batch to be addressed later as its own item. As a result, tabs 45 through 53, followed by tabs 5 through 76, are action items being brought before the Commission. The staff recommends the Commission's approval of tabs 45 through 53, followed by tabs 55 through 76. I'll pause here and respectfully turn it back to the Commission for some thoughts before concluding.
Thank you, Erwin. Any public comment?
Apologies, I do not see any request to comment at this time.
Okay, we do have a speaker slip for Mr. John Ingraham.
Is that for tab 54?
Tab
That is-
54 will be addressed separately.
Okay. Somebody needs to get me another cup of coffee, maybe. All right. Any questions or comments from the dais? We do. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I do see some of our virtual attendees who've raised their hand at this time. I'd like to first call on John McCoon. John McCoon, you are unmuted and free to comment. John, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Hello.
Yes, hello. You are unmuted and free to comment.
Okay, thank you. I see that item 54 is going to be moved to a different time. When will that be addressed?
It'll be addressed right after this item.
Okay, thank you.
Up next, we have Roberto.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, what's going to happen to item or tab 44?
Tab 44 has already come and we've gone beyond that one, sir.
We've gone beyond that. Okay, thank you.
And that concludes our request to comment from our virtual attendees at this time.
Thank you, Justin. Any comments or questions from the dais or a motion? Yes, Commissioner Grisby.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment about the fact that we have a couple of items here that are being deallocated because federal money is on hold. And just want to make the comment that it's very difficult to create new industries when there's regulatory noise and not enough money consistently on the table. So this is more economic damage from the regime. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Grisby. Is there a motion? Motion by Commissioner Eager, second by Commissioner Mann. All in favor? Oppose? Abstentions? Okay, consent calendar passes. We now go to item 54.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners. Excuse me. Tab 54 is an action item to approve the execution of 12 director's deeds in accordance with Section 118 of the Streets and Highways Code. The state will receive a return of $4,148,911 from the sale of these properties. Sorry. Please note, the Commission has received a few letters and emails related to a couple of the director's deeds in this item. We received one letter yesterday morning that has been distributed to Commissioners and will soon be posted online. That letter was from Assemblymember Valencia in support of Director's Deed number 9 in this item, which is being sold to the City of Anaheim to be used for a future fire station. We also received multiple emails from a member of the public related to Director's Deed number 2 in this item. This correspondence was posted online with the additional materials on Tuesday and is available as a pink handout in the back of the room, in the side of the room. The correspondence is from Mr. John Ingraham, who claims to have former owner buyback rights to an 80-acre portion of the parcel being offered under Director's Deed number 2 in the book item. The total size of the property being offered is a 104-acre parcel in Monterey County. We go through just a few details of this parcel. Monterey County acquired the 80-acre parcel. Monterey County acquired the 80-acre portion of this 104-acre parcel in 1983 and later transferred the parcel to Caltrans in 1986. Mr. Ingraham's claim in his emails is that the property was purchased by Monterey County back in 1983 under the threat of eminent domain for the State Route 101 Prunedale bypass. And now that the bypass project has been rescinded, he has buyback rights from Caltrans as a representative of a company who had an ownership stake at the time of acquisition in 1983. Mr. Ingraham is asking that approval of this sale be delayed to further evaluate whether he has buyback rights based on various state and federal laws that he has suggested are relevant, including the Roberti Act, a section of California's eminent domain law, and FHWA right-of-way regulations. Over the past several weeks, Commission staff, Caltrans staff, and both of our legal teams have spent significant time evaluating whether these state and federal laws apply to this situation and would obligate the state to offer the property to Mr. Ingraham instead of moving forward with this public sale that's before us. What we found was that the Roberti Act doesn't apply to non-residential properties or to freeway routes that were rescinded after 1984. And this route was rescinded in 2021. We also found that the section of eminent domain law that Mr. Ingraham is referencing, which is Code of Civil Procedures 1245.245, this section was added with the approval of Senate Bill 1650 in 2006 And the very last section of the bill says, this act shall apply prospectively and shall apply to property acquired after January 1st, 2007. And based on this and the fact that this property was acquired in 1983, staff concluded that this section is not applicable to the 1983 sale. And then finally, regarding his point about FHWA approval, FHWA approval is not needed when Caltrans is selling parcels at the fair market value, which this is based on the fact that it was a public sale at a public auction. So after reviewing all 12 of the director's deeds in this item, and after reviewing all the correspondence we received from Mr. Ingraham related to director's deed number 2, and after consulting with the commission and Caltrans teams, staff has concluded that all the sales in this item, including the parcel that Mr. Ingraham is objecting to, are in compliance with all applicable state and federal laws, as well as Commission Resolution G9822, which outlines the commission's procedure for the sale of excess property. So for those reasons, staff recommends approval of tab 54.
Thank you, John. Any virtual comments?
I'm not seeing any requests to comment at this time from any of our virtual attendees.
All right, thank you, John. We do have a speaker slip, yeah. Oh, she is online. Is she still online? The person that called earlier?
To anyone who indicated they wish to comment on item 54, please use the
Yes.
virtual raise hand feature to let us know you'd like to comment on this item.
In the meantime, we can call up Mr. Jonathan Ingraham.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Jonathan Ingraham and of Rivas and Williams. Our property was taken under threat of eminent domain in 1983 for public use of the highway bypass. Ultimately, the project was canceled and Caltrans directed to dispose of the property. My interpretations of the law, and many people here's interpretation, because I have public records requests, show that I should have been given the first right of refusal for this property at current, and I've offered to pay current market value. Caltrans argues that the law from 2007 was not in effect at the time of the property was taken, but indeed the obligation was triggered to give first owners rights in 2021 when the project was abandoned, not when the property was taken. The obligation to resell it to the owner was triggered at that point. What Caltrans did do was package my property with 4 other properties, and then, in their own words, for a quicker sale with better return and administrative efficiency. My parcel wasn't even recognizable anymore if I wanted to buy it. It was packaged up with others for a quicker sale, better return for administrative efficiency. In conclusion, I mean, just because I have 2 minutes and 43 years to talk about this. The commission's not being asked to void this sale in favor of me today. I'm asking, the request is narrow and reasonable. I'm asking to postpone the approval for 30 days. Allow the outstanding public records requests to get fulfilled. Require Caltrans CTC to provide single, consistent, legal, defensible condition on the
Sir, your time has
applicable.
expired.
Thank you for your time. I have my 2 minutes.
Thank you for being here. Are there other comments?
Sir, can you tell me, I'll give you a couple more minutes here, exactly what you're asking for today?
I'm asking for the CTC to postpone this decision to get it right is all I'm asking for. I just want the right decision to be made. And this has been fumbled and bumbled all along by Caltrans and by the own public records request received, many on CTC staff, Caltrans staff, I believe that I am right. And so I'm asking to postpone it for 30 days to allow the public records acts to be fulfilled mainly by Monterey County. Monterey County is the one that, with the threat of eminent domain, took the property from me, then transferred in '83, and then transferred it to the state. And Monterey County has not fulfilled, to my understanding, not even to Caltrans, the history of the parcel. Caltrans' first claim was that it was not taken under eminent domain. On the deed itself and on the back pages of what you see there, it was taken in it by eminent domain. That was their first claim. And then they gave me, I've only known about this I've only known that of the total sale for a few months. And as soon as I found out, beginning of April, I reached out to say, hey, we were the former owners of this. We should have been given first right. I tried to research it and I reached out. And then the middle of May, I was given 2 weeks to respond to Caltrans' statement.
Thank you.
Chief Deputy Galajewski has a question.
I just wanted to ask John again, if you could read the section of the law that talks about how it applies prospectively.
Yeah, we went in and looked at the law that we were guided to, and it was enacted with the approval of Senate Bill 1650 in 2006. And if you read to the bottom of Senate Bill 1650, the very last section of that bill says these words: "This act shall apply prospectively and shall apply to property acquired after January 1st, 2007.
And when was this property acquired?
This property was acquired in 1983.
Any other questions from the dais? Yes, Commissioner Gordino.
Thank you. Director Altuanze, would you like to comment on this from the legal perspective, or have someone here who might? I'm not an attorney. To have something apply prospectively.
Thank you, Commissioner Gardino. Yes, we would like to comment on this. I would like to defer to my staff. I think Carolyn may be here to talk about some of the communications that has taken place back and forth regarding this item.
Thanks for being here, Carolyn.
Sure. Good morning, Chair Falcone and Commissioners. Yes, we have looked at this on a legal perspective, and everything that John has indicated is what we have found. I would like to point out, in addition to what John has mentioned, that if, for the sake of argument, say that Mr. Ingram's arguments are valid, we would have to, that would only solely extend to the ownership at the time in 1983 when Monterey County purchased the property. And they purchased the property from Holly Hills Partnership, which has since been dissolved. Mr. Ingraham has not been able to provide us any documentation that indicates that when that partnership was dissolved, that Rivas and William Builders acquired all the interest of that partnership. You can see by his age that he wasn't the original owner back in 1983. I'm sure you were a young boy back then. But I certainly understand. I could see his emotion, and it's a difficult situation. But we did do a lot of marketing on the property. The signs were posted. There was a bin posted at the corner of the road with the flyers posted in there. We notified his mother, Donna Ingraham. I know he said she's a private partner or a private citizen, but we did check the Secretary of State records, and she is identified in the statement of identification that she is the CEO, CFO, and the agent for service for Rivas and William Builders.
Thank you. Commissioner Tiffany, do you have a question?
And just to follow up, and this was the third time that you went out to bid, and a bid has been accepted and an offer has been accepted, and that's what we're voting on today, correct?
That's correct. We had 2 auctions with no bidders, and we went out with the 3rd auction. That was a sealed bid auction and resulted in 1 bidder, and that's the transaction before you today.
And that's for that entire
100
parcel,
yes.
right? Not just that piece, but the entire piece. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Madam Chair, before we take a vote, I'd like to make some comments.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Prunedale is pretty much in my backyard, so this is an area that I'm very familiar with, and I have spoken to Mr. Ingraham at some length. Heard from him last week. There's been extensive emails back and forth, and I've read those thoroughly, as I'm sure the rest of the commissioners here have as well. It's an unfortunate situation. In 1983, as Mr. Ingraham, told me, he was 5 years old. So this was his grandfather's property, or his grandfather's company's property. So this was a long time ago. And, I'm frankly very sympathetic to your situation, to his situation. But unfortunately, I really don't see a way forward on this with that not moving forward. And I think it would be misleading, frankly, to delay, at least from my point of view, because I don't see how we can make a decision other than approving this, because a bid has already been accepted. There doesn't seem to be strong legal reasons to make a decision otherwise. And so, unfortunately, although, again, I'm certainly sympathetic to the situation, I feel our hands are tied, and I'm going to have to vote to approve this director's deed. Thank
Is
you.
that a motion, Commissioner?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bradshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. That tab passes. Thank you, Mr. Graham, for being here and for sharing your perspective with us. Going to tab 77, Christine Gordon.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Tab 77 is an information item of the Inspector General Report of 2024-25 Annual Summary of Findings and Recommendation. With the Independent Office of Audits and Investigations to present the report highlight.
Thank you to the Chair and Commissioners for the opportunity to present this morning. My name is Matt Espinshade. I'm the Chief Deputy Inspector General for the Caltrans Independent Office of Audits and Investigations. As Christine mentioned, the purpose is to present an overview of our work in fiscal year 25. Next.
And it's moving a little slow, but it's catching up.
That's all right. So first, a brief overview of the statutory requirements for our office. We were established by government code as an independent office within Caltrans with several responsibilities. First is to conduct audits of basically anything that receives state or federal transportation funding that goes through Caltrans. We also conduct investigations of employee misconduct. We do a review or reviews of Caltrans outreach efforts to increase procurement opportunities for small and disadvantaged business enterprises. And we provide an annual summary of our findings and recommendations, which is accomplished by our annual report. Next slide, please. Here's a little more detail on the work that we conduct. We mainly conduct two different types of audits. There are performance audits that can touch on just about any topic within Caltrans or local agencies. Most of our work really is done via project compliance audits. And most of it at local agencies. Will often audit projects from procurement through completion. And then we also have some non-audit services that we conduct, including kind of a relatively new data analytics function, as well as some reviews of cost proposals for architectural and engineering contracts. And then, of course, investigations. We manage a complaint hotline and conduct various investigations within the department. Next slide, please. So here's a brief overview of the audits that were completed during this fiscal year. We conducted 10 audits and special reviews. There were 9 audits, 1 special review. 55 recommendations to the department and to the local agencies. Total costs audited were a little over almost $1.3 billion. And we questioned about $9 million in costs that we did not believe complied with state or federal rules. Most of our work, as I mentioned, was done at local agencies. We had 3 audits of Caltrans districts and 1 special review. It was kind of a risk review of IIJA activities at Caltrans. Next slide. Here's our non-audit services. Again, review of architectural and engineering cost proposals to make sure they're supported. They meet the departmental guidelines. These are actually avoided costs. So we review this prospectively. So this resulted in about $5 million in savings for the department. Next slide, please. So here's a summary. Again, our potential financial impact was almost $14 million during the fiscal year. And in addition to that, we of course made numerous recommendations to improve processes and compliance going forward at local agencies and at Caltrans. Next slide. Here's a summary of the status of open recommendations as of our prior annual report. First of all, as I mentioned, there were 55 recommendations from audits conducted during that fiscal year. Many of those audits were actually published towards the end of the fiscal year. So it's not unusual for those to remain open. So we're highlighting the 149 that remained open as of the prior annual report. So 49 of those were fully implemented by Caltrans and the local agencies. 77 remain not implemented. 21 had some progress, so they were partially implemented, and 2 were communicated to us that they just will not implement the recommendation. Essentially, they're accepting the risk. We're about ready to conduct an updated review. We do this starting July 1st every year, so we're a few days away. And I know we've heard from Caltrans leadership, they are committed to working to close these recommendations. Again, most of them are directed towards the local agencies, but Caltrans does have some responsibility in ensuring that they're carried through and implemented. Next slide. That's a brief summary of our work. Thank you again for allowing me to present, and I'm happy to address any questions.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Any comments, Justin?
No, I don't see any requests from our virtual attendees to comment on the item.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the dais? I had a quick question. So when was the last time that you've conducted an audit of the department?
We are conducting multiple audits all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The reason why I'm asking is, I'm just I like to see if there are any trends, in terms of any, improvements or changes between your auditing of this department.
I don't know if I can comment on the department so much because our audits tend to be pretty targeted for different programs within the department. I will say, statewide, some of the issues we've noticed come up repeatedly are problems with the procurement process by locals, compliance with Buy America. That's an area we've seen multiple times. There are a lot of detailed requirements on documenting compliance with that. And it does vary from, local entity to local entity. Some of them are more robust and, larger. They're used to managing projects more often, where, some of the smaller entities maybe aren't as familiar with all the requirements.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or questions? All right. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
That was an informational item. Next item is tab 78. Mr. Silberman.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Tab 78 is an information item. The California Transportation Asset Management Plan and Senate Bill 1 each established 10-year performance targets for the State Highway Operations and Protection Program primary asset classes, which are pavements, bridges, culverts, and transportation management systems. To measure progress towards meeting the defined performance targets, the Commission adopted an addendum to the SHOP guidelines calling on Caltrans to develop annual benchmarks with future condition projections and to report annually to measure progress made for each of the 4 primary asset classes towards achieving the 10-year targets. Diana Campbell, the acting state asset management engineer for Caltrans, is here to provide a presentation on the 25-26 annual performance benchmark report. Turn it over to Diana.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, Chair Falcone, Commissioners, Director Altuanzi. Thank you for the opportunity to present an informational item, the 2026 Benchmark Performance Report. This is our interim report card. We've been monitoring our progress annually towards meeting the Senate Bill 1 commitments that were established back in 2017, as well as the performance targets that were established and adopted by the Commission. Next slide, please. So this report card shows our anticipated future projections towards our 2027 targets by balancing 3 things. 1, our current condition. 2, our ongoing rate of deterioration for our assets. And 3, we look at all of the planned work. It combines all of these factors to help show how we're doing and where we're headed. Next slide, please. To start, I wanted to share a summary table and highlight 2 distinct benchmarks we're currently reporting on for the 4 asset classes: pavement, bridges, culverts, and transportation management systems, or TMS. First, we start with Senate Bill 1 targets, and the other is the asset management targets set by the Commission. So let's start with Senate Bill 1. And everything is showing in green. Green is good. We're on track to meet or exceed our expectations across the board for the 4 asset classes. Now, notably for the bridge metrics, where our goal is to fix over 500 bridges, we've surpassed that by a considerable margin, fixing over 2,341 bridges. So everything is good for Senate Bill 1 summary. Next slide, please. Now, here's a quick overview of how we present the targets. Each asset class includes a table with its targets, and in this example, this is our TMS elements. It shows the established targets on the left in the gray box. Last year's condition in the center, current year condition, and then in the far right, that shows our change from last year. Now notice the color coding on the far right. The color corresponds to whether we're heading in the right direction. So sometimes down is good, sometimes up can be good, depending where we're trending, if it's in the preferred direction. It just depends if we're talking about good, fair, or poor. But green is good and red needs improvement. So that's why we color code them, to make it easy to understand. Now, while TMS has improved, as you can see, 20% of the system is still in poor condition, leaving a 10% gap to complete in the next 2 years. So you might be thinking, how are we going to get there by 2027? Well, most of this gap is due to one single project that is currently in construction with over 1,000 TMS elements, which will significantly improve conditions once that project is complete. Next slide, please. Also, for each asset class, we show a simple trend graph. The red line is our actual performance. Solid dots, we measured the condition. Hollow dots, future projections. The gray line is what we predicted back in 2016. And the shaded gray area is the uncertainty band from our Monte Carlo analysis. So far, our results are tracking within this band for TMS, and based on the projects in the pipeline, we remain confident that we will meet our goals by 2027. Next slide, please. So this is an example of our drainage asset. Our target is 10% poor, and we're at 10.2%, near our 2027 goals. Next slide. Again, nothing terribly exciting here. Drainage numbers are fairly steady and pretty flat. The graph shows we're currently at 10.2%, as I mentioned before, on track to meet SB1 goals. Next slide, please. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Next, we're shifting from SB1 targets to Commission Asset Management adopted targets that were set back in 2016. These targets are much more ambitious. The main difference is the target class 1 pavement is 1% poor condition, as opposed to SB1's 2%. For bridges, the focus also changes. Rather than counting the number of fixed bridges since 2017, we now look at the overall condition of the bridge network. Now, most assets are performing well, while the bridge condition and class 2 pavement remain in monitor status, but moving in the right direction. Next slide, please. So let's start with the pavement classes. If you look at the far right, we're at 1.3% poor for class 1 against our 1%, which is pretty good considering class 1 pavement represents half of all the pavement in California, covering all of our major interstates and busiest highways throughout the state. And as a reminder, Senate Bill 1 target is 2%. So at 1.3%, we are meeting our SB1 goals. Oh, I'm sorry, it's slowing down. Sorry, there's a lag. So now we're shifting from SB1 pavement to Commissioner's Asset Target. And with 1.3% for poor for class 1 pavement, we are close to our target. As a reminder, Senate Bill 1, again, target is 2%, and we're at 1.3%, meeting our SB1 target. Next slide, please. Next, for class payment 2, which are largely our number state highways, we're still below the 22% poor target, which is great. While we're trending in the right direction, downward for fair target, but based on future projections, we're slightly higher than the fair target, which is why we have class 2 in monitor status. Next slide, please. So moving on to class 3 are our 2-lane rural state highways. And again, everything is green and we're better than where we're required to be under Senate Bill 1. Next slide, please. Next, I'll be talking about bridges, and I want to spend a little time on this slide. California holds itself to a 1.5% poor condition target, one of the strictest in the nation. For perspective, the national average is around 6 to 7% poor. And in some other states, closer to 19% poor. So these examples underscore how ambitious California's 1.5% target truly is compared to the rest of the nation. Today, California is at 3.4% poor. That's less than half the national average, but still above our target. The encouraging part is we've improved by 0.5% this year, and we had almost a 1% reduction, poor bridge condition in 2023 to 2024. Now, you may be wondering, why isn't progress improving faster? Well, I've been with Bridge Program for 25 years and serving as the chief of Bridge Asset Management. So let me take a moment to explain. Our infrastructure was largely built in the late 60s to early 70s. Many are hitting peak rehabilitation all at the same time. Over 60% of our nearly 13,600 bridge inventory is over 53 years old, and nearly 10% is over 75. Pandemic impacts, inflation, sharp wood, steel price increases further reduce our purchasing power. To add, we cannot take credit for completed bridge work until it's inspected, which typically occurs every 2 years, creating a lag between construction completion to when we take credit for condition improvement. Also, large complex shop projects can last 5 to 20 years. A bridge remains rated poor until the project is done and re-inspected. Now, despite these challenges, we're being proactive. We're building a strong shelf-ready pipeline to advance work quickly if funding becomes available, like IIJA or SB1. Another example is through the Poor Bridge Deck Initiative in fiscal year 21-22 to 22-23. My team evaluated over 13,500 bridges to advance low-risk, high-success deck preservation projects to successfully fix 99 poor bridges, totaling 2.3 million square feet of deck area. Now, before I move on to the next slide, I wanted to address a really important point that Commissioner Tiffany brought up at the last commission meeting on the benchmark report, whether a poor bridge overlaps with safety. To clarify, a poor rating is a federal condition classification, not a safety designation. Many bridges rated poor simply need rehabilitation, like changing the oil on your car or rotating your tires. If a bridge was deemed unsafe, we would immediately close it and initiate emergency repair. Next slide, please. As I was watching the December commission meeting last year, Chair Falcone, you said to Michael Johnson, acknowledging as you're recalibrating priorities the work that the districts have to do in order to meet priority guidelines in moving around projects, that's not easy. So just wanted to uplift their work in meeting where we are at right now as it relates to our capacity. Your comment really resonated with me. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. It's been a challenging year. And with that, I'd like to follow your lead and take a page out of your playbook. I'd like to take a moment to recognize my team and uplift my team. I wanted to thank the director and all 12 district directors and single focal points here today behind me for their leadership, passion, and commitment to the people of the state of California. I also want to recognize all of Caltrans, the entire Caltrans team, who have carried an enormous workload through a rebalance, a pandemic, and a major pandemic. I appreciate your efforts. Under extraordinary conditions, the department developed nearly 700 projects totaling $20 billion. That's not easy. We also recognize that California has incurred $1 billion in emergency response costs last year. So what did we do? We transparently acknowledged it, evaluated, and rebounded. We led with purpose as one Caltrans to play offense by proactively advancing climate resiliency with larger culverts, using non-flammable materials, and resilience built directly into our highway design standards for areas prone to fire and flood. District 11 prepared a major emergency evacuation response plan on State Route 67 as a result of prior fires, which reflects our forward-thinking approach. This dual approach actively advances climate resiliency, both by delivering hardened infrastructure projects now and by embedding into how we design projects moving forward. This puts a lot of pressure on us because we have to pay for defense and offense simultaneously. All right, my favorite part of the presentation, Commissioner Tiffany, this one's for you. This bridge is in District 5 along US 101 in Monterey County. What is not apparent from this photo with a good-looking bridge deck and a safe railing is that it took over 10 years to fix this bridge due to permitting, fiber optic lines under the foundation, traffic staging, and constructability constraints, to name a few challenges. This example underscores how certain complex bridges can exceed the 10-year SB1 window, but also reflects strong district partnership and commitment to delivery. Next slide, please. Hindsight's 2020. Looking back, the 1.5% poor condition and the 10-year horizon were likely too aggressive, given the pandemic, inflation, mega project timelines, and credit lag from inspections. But the department remains full steam ahead and aggressively pushing forward towards our targets. Before I conclude, I did want to thank Tim Solomon and John Prey for the discussions in advance of the commission meetings on the benchmark report. It's incredibly helpful to understand CTC's perspective. So thank you for the collaboration and the partnership. And with that, this concludes my presentation. Commissioner Tiffany, I assure you the bridge is very safe to drive over. Happy to answer any questions, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Diana, for your very thorough report and for rehashing some of our quotes. I think you say it better than we do on the dais, but appreciate the trending that you've shared towards progress. We, particularly with bridges, we've been very sensitive, obviously, to the health of that particular asset of the system. Back to the our clerk, do we have any public comment on Diana's presentation?
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Yes, Commissioner Tiffany.
Thank you, Diana. Couple of comments before I get into really what I wanted to say. First of all, Leanna and I were wondering if you could tell us where the 19% states are not. So we're not going to drive there.
I purposely left that out.
Yeah. And thank you for your very thorough report. And I appreciate you recognizing everyone at Caltrans that has helped that. And it's refreshing to hear someone recognize someone other than Matthew for a change. You already addressed this a bit, but I'm just talk a little bit more about how you looking forward beyond 2027. And we know that there is a significant shortfall that we're looking at. And you talked about the challenge of playing defense as well as offense. I appreciate that. But how do you, looking forward, how do you see addressing and meeting these benchmarks? I'm assuming we're going to have to make priorities. Safety always comes first. And so it probably means there's going to be less money for other programs, I'm going to guess, but I'm just curious your thoughts about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Great question, Commissioner Tiffany. Well, first of all, there's minimal impact, and reason being because the benchmark projections are based on ECWC, as expected condition work complete, which is 2/3 of the way from award to contract acceptance, open to traffic. So what does that mean? The projects that matter in 2027 are all in construction or in highway preservation projects, so they're counted. The projects that got deferred are outside of the 2027 range. But also the gas tax declines and other funding issues, well, I wish I had a crystal ball. That's the million-dollar question. We don't have that. But to meet the 2027 targets, the work that drives the outcomes are already in construction, like I said, so we should be able to account for that. Not only that, we are leveraging new emerging technologies such as electrochemical chloride extraction that I mentioned in the March Commission meeting for more cost efficiencies. And we're playing offense, like I said, by embedding hardened infrastructures, not only just in our projects, but moving forward in our design. So that should alleviate the $1 billion in emergency work. And as the peak passes, as I noted earlier, the expansion was in the 60s to 70. As we crest that curve, we should see significant decline in work needed to be done by 2027. Thank you. Good question.
Any other questions or comments from the dais? Commissioner Grisby.
All right, thanks so much for the presentation and congratulations on the improvements. You mentioned there's a major project on the TMS side that once that gets completed, a lot of the numbers there would improve. I'm just sort of curious which project that is.
I will have to get back to you on that. I don't have the EA in front of me, but it's, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. It wasn't too long ago that I remember seeing red dots on those reports. And so we're hoping by 2027, right, that those will all be green dots. Of course, we'll have to reassess given, the state of, given what Commissioner Tiffany mentioned, the state of our funding to continue to maintain our assets. It's a big talking point that each of us, I know, are very concerned about. And so, but we want to continue to hear these improvements and ensure that our system is in a state of good repair. So appreciate you bringing all the all the updates and progress in the work that the team is doing, and we're here as partners with you, and so always appreciate your updates. So thank you, Diana.
Thank you so much.
All right. Next item, tab 79, adoption of the 2027 Active Transportation Program Regional Guidelines. Alika.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tab 79 is an action item to adopt the 2027 Active Transportation Program Regional Guidelines for 5 metropolitan planning organizations, or MPOs, which include Fresno Council of Governments, Sacramento Area Council of Governments, San Joaquin Council of Governments, Santa Barbara County Association of Governments, and the Southern California Association of Governments. The 2027 Active Transportation Program guidelines allow the 10 large MPOs to develop guidelines outlining their regional project selection processes in the MPO component of the ATP. Regional guidelines must be consistent with the state guidelines, but the MPOs do have discretion in certain areas, such as issuing a supplemental call for projects and adjusting project selection criteria and weighting. By developing regional guidelines, MPOs can encourage applicants to propose projects that advance regional priorities. Regional guidelines must be approved by the Commission. It provides how each guidelines to meet regional priorities. For example, the governments and the Southern California Association of Governments score on consistency with their respective local and regional plans. The Sacramento Area Council of Governments scores on alignment with local economic prosperity goals and further advancement of regional greenhouse gas reduction goals. And the Santa Barbara County Association of Governments scores on project readiness and demand based on the percentage of existing or potential active transportation users relative to the size of their community. The regional guidelines for the 5 MPOs are included as Attachment B in the book item. The San Diego Association of Governments and the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency regional guidelines will be presented to you at the August Commission meeting. Commission staff has reviewed each MPO's guidelines and finds them consistent with statewide guidelines. Therefore, staff recommends adoption of the 2027 Active Transportation Program regional guidelines for the 5 previously mentioned MPOs.
Thank you, Alika. Any public comment, Justin?
No, there was no requested comment from our virtual attendees.
Back to the dais. Questions, comments, motion. Motion by Commissioner Mann, second by Commissioner Bradshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
No abstentions? Okay, thank you. Item 80, back to you, Olivia.
Commissioners, tab 80 is an action item presenting the Caltrans Division of Aeronautics 2026 Acquisition and Development Program, or A&D. The A&D is a 2-year program providing state grants to airports for planning, construction, and land acquisition. These projects are selected based on the most recently adopted capital improvement plan. At the December 2025 Commission meeting, the Commission adopted the amendment to the Aeronautics Capital Improvement Plan ranking priority matrix, which includes expanded priority areas to include 3 new categories: climate action, equity and environmental justice, and economic development and multimodal access. The amended matrix was used for the ranking of projects in this A&D program. The 2026 A&D program, which covers fiscal years 2026-27 and 2027-28, includes 18 projects valued at $4.1 million. Commissioners, staff has reviewed this item and recommends approval of the 2026 Aeronautics Acquisition and Development Program.
Thanks, Alika. Public comment, Justin.
There was no request to comment on the item.
Okay, commissioners? Questions, comments? Motion? All right, motion by Commissioner Tiffany, seconded by Commissioner Brown-Hines. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes, abstentions? Okay, thank you. That item passes. On to environmental matters. Cherry Zamora, tab 81.
All right, good morning. Tab 81 is an action item to accept the addendum and supplemental environmental impact report and approve future consideration of funding for the State Route 37 Sears Point to Mare Island project in Sonoma and Solano counties. The lead agency, Caltrans, adopted the addendum and supplemental environmental impact report, finding impacts would be mitigated to less than significant levels. Staff has reviewed this request and recommends approval.
All right, thank you, Cherry. Any public comment, Justin?
No, there's no request to comment on the item.
All right, back at the dais. Any comments? Moved by Commissioner Eager, seconded by Commissioner Brown-Hines. All in favor? Aye. Abstentions, noes? Okay, that item passes. Thank you, Cherry. Tab 82, Mr. Prey.
Yes. Tab 82 is an action item to approve the execution of one director's deed in accordance with Section 118 of the Streets and Highways Code. This director's deed will authorize Caltrans to transfer a collection of properties known as Blues Beach in Mendocino County to the Kai Poma Nonprofit Corporation. The Blues Beach properties include 136.23 acres of coastal land that was purchased in the 1970s under the Highway Beautification Act of 1965 to protect the scenic nature of the coastline. The land contains significant cultural resources and history that are important to local Native American tribes. In 2021, Senate Bill 231 added Section 118.9 to the Streets and Highways Code, authorizing the state to convey the land at no cost to a qualified nonprofit corporation organized by one or more California Native American tribes for the purpose of environmental protection. The Sherwood Valley Band of Pomo Indians, the Round Valley Indian Tribes, and the Coyote Valley Band of Pomo Indians formed the Kai Poma Corporation as a qualified nonprofit under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code. Approval of this item will authorize Caltrans to execute the director's deed to complete the land transfer to Kai Poma Corporation. Staff recommends approval of tab 82.
Thank you, John. Any public comment?
Yes, I do see some virtual attendees with their hand raised at this time. I'd like to call on Patricia Urbano.
Greetings and good morning to all. Kai Poma is an intertribal effort to preserve our historic territory and promote cultural autonomy and vibrancy for generations to come for the three tribes that came together to form this nonprofit. The three tribes are Sherwood Valley Band of Pomo Indians, Coyote Valley Band of Pomo Indians, and Round Valley Indian tribes. The importance of seeing the land's cultural resources, food, plants, and all that was given to sustain life in our ancestral territory is a collective set of relationships to protect. We want to continue to have the ability for the protection of this land. It is what we were taught. Although there is mention of three tribes, know that the advocacy is for all our relations who share the same memories and hope once again to teach our children and generations to come so that they too will know the truth of their existence. The tribes stand together in solidarity and assure that they are the best suited to protect, preserve, and provide oversight to this highly important property and its cultural resources. The tribes wish to encourage you to approve the transfer of the Blues Beach Chadburn Gulch property to Kaipoma. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Any additional, Justin?
Yes, we have one other hand raised at this time. I'd like to call on Kelly Brinkman.
I'm sorry, my hand was not supposed to be raised.
Thank you. And that concludes all requests to comment on the item at this time.
Okay, and we do have a speaker slip from the room. Sean Drake from our sister agency, California Coastal Commission.
Good morning, Chair Falcone, Commissioners. I'm Sean Drake, Legislative Program Manager for the California Coastal Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today on behalf of the Coastal Commission in support of this important project. Since SB 231 was passed in 2021, Coastal Commission staff have been working closely with the Kaipoma Board, their consultant team, and the Caltrans District 1 team on laying the groundwork to get the Blues Beach property successfully transferred to Kaipoma. As part of that preparation, Caltrans staff worked closely with me and with my colleagues to secure a coastal development permit that provides the necessary authorization under the Coastal Act to divide off and transfer the 136 acres of coastal land as proposed today. I want to express our appreciation to Caltrans District 1 staff, Brandon Larson and his team, for their collaboration throughout that process. The Coastal Commission also partnered with Kaipoma to co-develop a management plan for the Blues Beach property, which will help guide Kaipoma's management of public access and natural and cultural resources consistent with SB 231 and the Coastal Act. We're deeply grateful to Kaipoma Board as well as their consultant team for their leadership, collaboration, and their patience in developing this management plan together with us. With those key documents in place, we're so pleased that this years-long effort now comes before you. Although the transfer process is nearing completion, it will remain critical for the Coastal Commission as the land use regulatory agency and Caltrans as an easement holder and the adjacent property owner to continue working in genuine partnership with Kaipoma to support their management of Blues Beach into the future. We look forward to doing just that. As for today, your approval will be a milestone in returning this spectacular piece of coastal land to Native American stewardship. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Drake. Appreciate you being here. Back at the dais, anybody have any questions or comments on this item?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Grisby, seconded by Commissioner Bradshaw. I just want to say this is such an exciting item to bring up today. Returning lands to our indigenous people in the state, and these are the kinds of things that kind of really, add to the importance of what we do. We do a lot of funding here on this commission, but also it's stewardship of important lands that, like like Luz Beach that we're returning to folks, and it seems like a justice. So I just wanted to make that comment before we take the vote. So appreciate the comments that were made by our virtual commenter in addition to Mr. Drake. So this is an exciting and something to celebrate. Appreciate Caltrans's and the Coastal Commission's collaboration on this item. And with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? Okay, that item passes. Tab 84, Tim.
Madam Chair, if we could just acknowledge tab 83 was withdrawn.
Yes, acknowledged. Tab 83 was withdrawn. Thanks for the reminder, Douglas. All right, back to you, Tim.
Thank you. Commissioners, tab 84 is an action item requesting commission approval of terms, conditions, and execution of a high voltage underground utility license agreement with Pacific Gas and Electric to be able to provide underground installation of electric distribution lines for approximately 0.6 miles along an access controlled right-of-way section of State Route 49 in Placer County. Please note this item has an edit to the agenda title and a yellow replacement book item as noted on the change list. Since the enactment of Senate Bill 901 in 2018, electric utility companies are required to develop annual wildfire mitigation plans detailing how their facilities will be maintained and operated while reducing the risk of catastrophic wildfires. A common mitigation strategy is to underground existing overhead electric distribution lines. In some project areas, use of access-controlled right-of-way is the last remaining option where utilities can be placed underground. To accommodate these projects, an encroachment policy exception and a license fee are required to grant use of access-controlled right-of-way to utilities. The Commission's approval of the terms, conditions, and execution of a high-voltage underground utility license agreement will help expedite the undergrounding of the utilities at this location, as PG&E has already completed the work outside the access control right-of-way section, and PG&E is ready to complete the remaining utility undergrounding work at this location. Staff has reviewed the book item for tab 84 and recommends approval.
Thank you, Tim. Public comment, Justin.
No, we do not receive any request to comment on the item.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the dais or a motion? Commissioner Tiffany and seconded by Commissioner Bradshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? Okay, that item passes. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you.
85.
Tab 85 is similar to tab 84. It is an action item requesting commission approval of terms, conditions, and execution of a high voltage underground utility license agreement with Pacific Gas and Electric to provide underground installation of distribution lines for approximately 1.6 miles along an access controlled right-of-way section in State Route 29 in Lake County. Please note this item also has an edit to the agenda title and a yellow replacement book item as noted on the change list. As I said, this is very similar to what was previously described under tab 84 regarding the mitigation strategy to underground utilities as part of their annual wildfire mitigation plans, and that due to this section of State Route 29 being access controlled and that an encroachment permanent policy exception and license fee are required to grant use of access control right-of-way to utilities. The approval of the terms, conditions, and execution of a high voltage underground utility license agreement will help expedite the undergrounding of the utilities at this location, as PG&E has stated they are ready to mobilize crews to start this work. Commission staff has reviewed the book item for tab 85 and recommends approval.
Thank you, Tim. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
All right, thanks, Justin. Questions, comments, motion from the dais? Motion by Commissioner Eager, second by Commissioner Tiffany. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes, abstentions? Okay, that item passes. All right, tabs 86 and 87 together. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you. Yes, I'll present 86 and 87 with a recommendation at the end. Tab 86 is an action item for a shop drainage restoration project on State Route 198 in Fresno County, requesting $1,400,000 in supplemental funds in construction support to complete construction. The project realized support cost increases due to an increase in the permitting requirements beyond what was anticipated. In addition, consultants were necessary to augment staff due to the increased resource needs to address the requirements of the incidental take permit and biological opinion for the California tiger salamander. Tab 87 is an action item for a shop pavement preservation project on State Route 27 in Los Angeles County that is requesting $1,200,000 in supplemental funds for construction support to complete construction. The project realized support cost increases due to delays caused by wildfire and storm damage soon after the project started construction. The events have resulted in the need of additional resources to support ongoing coordination efforts with other director's orders projects within the project limits, utility impacts, inspection of contract change orders, and remaining construction activities. Commission staff has reviewed the projects and the book items for tab 86 and 87 and recommends approval.
Thank you, Tim. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on either of these items.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments? Motion from the dais. Motion made by Commissioner Mann, seconded by Commissioner Eager. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? Those items pass. Tabs 88 and 89. Mr. Silverman again.
Thank you. Yes, I'll take 88 and 89 and I'll make a recommendation at the end. Tab 88 is an action item for a shop major damage permanent restoration project, also called Last Chance Grade, on US Highway 101 in Del Norte County that's requesting $6,789,000 in supplemental funds to complete the project approval and environmental document phase. The project realized cost increases due to delays in executing the Section 106 Memorandum of Agreement between the Department and State Historic Preservation Officer regarding cultural resources. Due to sensitivity and uniqueness of the project impacts and the challenges associated with identifying suitable mitigation or treatments for the project impacts that were meaningful to all 5 local tribes, the Memorandum of Agreement negotiation and completion took longer than anticipated. The delay in the environmental phase has also impacted the ability to start specialized geotechnical investigations planned for the design phase. The geotech investigation will validate the project's preferred alternative and collect additional data essential for project design. This investigation is a critical path item with a tight environmental work window. Starting the geotech investigation immediately will help reduce the risk of future project delays. In addition, it should be noted the amount of funding being requested in this supplemental for the geotechnical investigation will be reflected in a reduced amount being requested for the design phase allocation. Tab 89 is an action item for a shop pavement preservation project on State Route 150 in Ventura County, requesting $325,000 in supplemental funds to complete the project approval and environmental document phase. The project realized cost increases due to the adoption of new guardrail standards, which will require additional resources to further evaluate the segment at each location and revise and complete the environmental document. Commission staff has reviewed the projects and the book items for tab 88 and 89 and recommends approval.
Thank you, Tim. Any public comment, Justin?
No, there was no request to comment on either item.
Thank you. Questions, comments, motion from the dais. Moved by Commissioner Eager, seconded by Commissioner Tiffany. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? Okay, tabs 88, 89 passes. Item 90, Mr. Sobelman.
Thank you. Tab 90 is an action item for a shop safety improvements project on State Route 49 in Placer County, requesting $1,300,000 in supplemental funds in construction capital to close out the project. The cost increase was identified after the contractor submitted a number of claims related to the acceleration of work, changes of the planned detours, which increased temporary traffic control costs, and constructability issues related to unforeseen utility conflicts. Caltrans reviewed and concurred with the proposed amounts of the claims and is requesting approval of this supplemental funds to close out the construction contract. Before giving my recommendation for this item, I'd like to summarize the total SHOP increases. The total increases for supplementals at the June 2026 CTC meeting is approximately $11 million. This is the lowest amount of increases being requested at any CTC meeting in the 25-26 fiscal year. The total increases for the 25-26 fiscal year for supplementals and initial allocations greater than 20% of the programmed amount is approximately $500 million. Commission staff has reviewed the project and the book item for tab 90 and recommends approval.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. And thank you for your perspective. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the dais? Yes, Commissioner Tiffany.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a question for Sergio. Once again, Sergio, thank you for the outstanding tour yesterday morning. In regards to this item, I just wanted to hear a little bit more about, there's been on this project 4 time extensions. There's been, and what we're approving today are 4 separate contractor claims, it looks like, for the $1.3 million supplemental. I would be remiss if I went through a meeting without asking, are there lessons learned?
You get to take a drink.
But anyway, so I pulled this one out because this one with the extensive number of extensions and supplementals, I just wanted to hear from you again. Are there things that might have been done differently, and looking forward, are there lessons learned not just for your district but for others in a project like this? Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, commissioners, and thank you, Commissioner Tiffany, for this question. And again, it was a pleasure having all of you yesterday for the tour. Absolutely, there's lessons learned on these types of projects. A few things, and I think we spoke a little bit about it yesterday, is anytime you're dealing with utilities, both underground in an area that you're going to come in and do a roundabout, there's unknown underground surfacing that in many cases is not going to be well ascertained until you get into it and start digging. In this case, we encountered some of that. There was coordination between PG&E utilities as well as the local city sewer line that needed to happen. And while we were trying to push both of those entities to move faster, they frankly did not. And it took us a while to get in there and do this work. And the other part of it that I will want to say is these types of projects, the reason is that we took longer also to complete this is we did not want to, we could have finished the roundabout because again, these are underground utilities. I want to remind everybody about this but if we were to complete the roundabout, that sewer line needed to be repaired at some point and needed to be worked on. We do not want to have a roundabout that's completed and in a few years come in and tear up that brand new roundabout to do underground utility work. So it's one of those situations where it's important for us to get in there, do it once, and then leave. Did we learn a lot in regards to potential conflicts? Absolutely. Are we going to try to use some of the things we spoke about yesterday, BIN4I and other methods to improve on that utility location and avoidance measures before we get down there? Absolutely. So there's a lot of things we learned. We also learned things that we need to do better in regards to shepherding these permitting processes forward. Not in this case, railroad was not in this case, but very similar story to where we need to get other entities to help us move some of these permits forward.
Thank you, Sergio. Appreciate that. I'll make a motion for approval.
Thank you. Okay, so a motion made by Commissioner Tiffany, seconded by Commissioner Grisby. And it's not a hearing without a Tiffany-ism. So yeah. Thank you for your questions. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? Okay, that item passes. Item 91, Kayla.
Commissioners, tab 91 is a supplemental allocation request for an additional $33,000 in local partnership formulaic program funds for the zero emission bus maintenance bays rehabilitation project in Alameda County. This supplemental amount was programmed and approved at the May 2026 Commission meeting. This action will result in a total of $285,000 in formulaic program funds on the construction phase of this project. The supplemental funds will cover cost increases in the construction management process. Please note that this item is on the change list for a minor correction to the agenda title. Staff recommends approval of this request.
Thank you, Kayla. Any public comment?
No, there's no request to comment on the item.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments, motion from the dais? Moved by Commissioner Eager. Seconded by Commissioner Mann. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? Okay, item passes. Thank you, Kayla. All right. Tabs 92 and 93 will be together. Brandy.
Good morning, Commissioners. I will present tabs 92 and 93 together with a recommendation at the end. Tab 92 is a supplemental allocation request for $2,904,000 in transit and intercity rail capital program funds for the South Bay Microtransit Expansion Project in Santa Clara County. These funds will continue to support the City of Cupertino's existing on-demand microtransit service and provide safe, affordable, and efficient travel throughout the community for their 5-year service plan. Tab 93 is a supplemental allocation request for $1 million in transit and intercity rail capital program funds for the East Side Transit Corridor Phase 2 Metro L Gold component in Los Angeles County. This project is a 9-mile light rail transit line extension serving approximately 722,000 residents and is a job center to approximately 274,000 employees. Staff recommends your approval of tabs 92 and 93.
Thank you, Brandy. Any public comment?
No, there's no request to comment on either item.
Thanks, Justin. Questions, comments, motion from the dais? Okay. A motion by Commissioner.
Well, actually, I had a question.
Oh, you do? Okay, Go ahead.
So on the first tab, the microtransit project, do we know why there's a 52% increase?
Yes, so actually this just completes the award that they were given for their entire 5-year service project. So originally they did plan to do this in 2 phases and just split the costs out. But now that they have combined phase 2 with phase 1, they're just continuing their 5-year service plan. So it's not really an increase. It's just the remaining balance of their award.
I see. Okay, so moved.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Grisby, seconded by, did you want to make a comment?
Okay. So I had my light on before either of their lights, but it's okay.
Can we-
We're all
can we-
excited about this. We're all.
Can we give it to Commissioner Gardino?
No, take it. It's the regional improvement. It's only because I'm blind in my left eye, Carl. Oh, now you're making me feel bad. You did a good job. Take it.
We have very considerate commissioners. All right, okay, seconded by Commissioner Guardino. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? Okay, items 92 and 93 passes. Okay, I'm done. Tab 94, John Prey.
Yes, tab 94 is an action item to approve amendments to the 2026 shop. Please note there are a few changes on the change list, and with those changes, these shop amendments will add 35 new projects and revise 55 projects in the 2026 shop. Of the 35 new projects, 25 of them are emergency projects from the major damage reservation, and 8 are safety projects from the safety reservation. And so that leaves just 2 of the 35 new projects that are not coming from a reservation. And we always treat those with a little more care when they come in mid-cycle like this. So I just want to give a few details. One of the new projects is a complete streets, bicycle, and pedestrian infrastructure project on State Route 2 in the city of Los Angeles. This project was originally planned to be programmed in the 2026 shop, but it was left out due to limited programming capacity. But it's being funded now through savings that were realized on 2 stormwater projects in Los Angeles and Ventura counties. So that's the first one. And then the other new project is a financial contribution only project in Humboldt County for the Sunset Avenue Overcrossing project on Highway 101. This project is funded from a federal build grant awarded last year that's being processed through the shop. So that's the 2 new projects. They're not coming from a reservation. And then the 55 projects that are being revised are various proactive changes to scopes, costs, and schedules on these projects. 55 is slightly more than we see at one meeting, but that's because the shop guidelines do not allow changes once the projects enter their year of delivery. So June is the last time that many of these projects can make these proactive changes. With that, staff recommends approval of tab 94.
Thank you, John. Public comment, Justin.
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Motion from the dais. Moved by Commissioner Eager, seconded by Commissioner Tiffany. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? All right. Item 94 passes. Tabs 95 and 96 will be presented together. Anya.
Commissioners, tab 95 is a funding distribution amendment request for the City of Grass Valley's Wolf Creek Community and Connectivity Project to move $300,000 from the right-of-way phase to the construction phase. The total funds programmed to the project will not change. Tab 96 is a funding distribution amendment to request for the City of Ventura's Santa Paula Trail East Ventura Station to East of Wells Road project to reprogram $1,770,000 in right-of-way savings to the construction phase. Again, the total funds programmed to the project is not changing. Staff has reviewed these requests and recommends approval of tabs 95 and 96.
Thank you, Anya. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on either item.
Questions, comments? Motion from the dais. Motion made by Commissioner Mann, seconded by Commissioner. I saw Mr. Tiffany's hand up, so.
No, I want some.
You know, I'm going to have to separate you two. All right, seconded by Commissioner Eager. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? Okay, those 2 items, 95 and 96, passes. Since we did 97, we will skip over to tab 98. Kayla.
Commissioners, tab 98 is a supplemental allocation request for $105,000 in local partnership formulaic program funds for the State Route 65 realignment and operational improvements, Oak Street Roundabout, Location 1, Phase 1 project in Tulare County. This supplemental amount was programmed and approved in tab 97. $2,500,000 in STIP funds was allocated to the project in December 2023. The project will construct a roundabout in the city of Lindsay to improve traffic operations and safety and relieve congestion. Staff recommends approval of this request.
Thank you, Kayla. Public comment.
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
All right, commissioners? Questions, comments, motion? Motion made by Commissioner Tiffany, seconded by Commissioner Eager. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? Item 98 passes. On to TSEP. All right, we have tabs 100, 101, 102, 103. Ms. Newman-Burkhart, you're up.
Thanks, Chair Falcon. Commissioners, I will present tabs 100 through 103 together with a recommendation at the end. Tab 100 is a scope amendment request for the Fix 5 Cascade Gateway I-5 Improvements Project in Shasta County, which was jointly nominated by the Shasta Regional Transportation Authority and Caltrans and programmed with $72,722,000 in total Trade Corridor Enhancement Program funding. Caltrans is requesting to make adjustments to the scope of the project as indicated in the book item, which staff has reviewed and agreed are necessary. Tab 101 is an amendment to the 2022 Trade Corridor Enhancement Program for 2 projects. The first project is the Otay Mesa East Port of Entry project, which was jointly nominated by Caltrans and the San Diego Association of Governments and is currently programmed with $191,657,000 for 5 components in the 2022 Trade Corridor Enhancement Program. The Otay Mesa East Port of Entry Project's funding plan includes a mixture of state, federal, and local funding, along with bonds against future toll revenue. These bonds are issued by the San Diego Association of Governments and repaid over time using toll revenues from facility users of the border crossing. However, the project has faced challenges selling these bonds due to broader economic uncertainty, including tariffs and higher fuel costs, as well as a lack of federal private activity bond capacity in the current federal fiscal year. Therefore, the San Diego Association of Governments and Caltrans are proposing to restructure the project so that the primary tolled northbound vehicle facilities are constructed with Trade Corridor Enhancement Program funding first, allowing toll revenue generation to begin earlier and supporting the sale of bonds. Specific details regarding the adjustments to the project are outlined in the book item. The full scope is included in an executed baseline agreement, meaning that all project components must be delivered. The second project is the Port of Oakland Green Power Microgrid Project, which was jointly nominated by Caltrans, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, and the Port of Oakland, and is currently programmed with $41,635,000 for 5 components in the 2022 Trade Corridor Enhancement Program. At its May 2026 meeting, the Commission approved a scope amendment to remove the battery energy storage system and solar elements from the harbor facilities component of the project. The project now requires a program amendment to reflect a funding reduction commensurate with the loss of project benefits. Specifically, staff recommends reducing the Trade Corridor Enhancement Program funding for the project from $41,635,000 to $38,003,000 and returning the resulting $3,632,000 in savings to the program for future reprogramming. Tab 102 is an amendment to the 2024 Trade Corridor Enhancement Program for the EV Realty Livermore Charging Hub project, formerly known as the Gauge Zero Accelerating Zero Emission Fleet Charging on Priority Corridors project. The project was nominated by Caltrans and Gauge Zero LLC and programmed with $20,117,000 for 4 components in the 2024 Trade Corridor Enhancement Program. EV Realty Holdings LLC acquired Gauge Zero LLC in March 2025 and inherited the project at the time of programming. At its May 2026 meeting, the Commission approved a scope amendment for the project. A program amendment is now needed to memorialize the scope changes into the adopted program and to return $15,116,000 to the program for future programming. Tab 103 is a request to approve baseline agreements for 3 2024 Trade Corridor Enhancement Program projects. Staff has reviewed each of these requests and recommends approval of tabs 100, 101, 102, and 103.
Thank you, Beverly. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on any of the listed items.
Thank you, Justin. Any questions, comments? Motion from the dais. Moved by Commissioner Eager, seconded by Commissioner Grisby. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? All right, tabs 101 to 103 passes. Tab 104, back to you, Beverly.
Commissioners, tab 104 is a multi-funded allocation request of $255,098,000 in Trade Corridor Enhancement Program and Coordinated Border Infrastructure Program funds for the Otay Mesa East Land Port of Entry northbound vehicle processing and tolling package component. This is being treated as an allocation for a project with costs that exceed the programmed amount by more than 20% because it includes an additional $24,500,000 in Coordinated Border Infrastructure Program funds in alignment with the project restructuring outlined under tab 101. This component will construct the northbound vehicle facility of the new Otay Mesa East border crossing, including the federal facility, information technology system, and tolling facilities, and will directly support the future delivery of the northbound cargo facility. Staff recommends your approval of tab 104.
Thank you, Beverly. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Comments, questions, motion from the dais?
have a quick
Yes, Commissioner
comment.
Eager.
Yes, I just want to say this is obviously a very important project to all of us here, and we were just there not very long ago. Day before yesterday, just before I came here, I went to go drop my cousin off at Otay Mesa to walk across to Tijuana to catch a plane.
Cross-Border Express?
The Cross-Border Express. And we drove around and went down the 11 to go look. The work that's being done there, absolutely amazing. The trucks are still backed up on both sides for 20 hours, 25 hours, I forget what they told me. So getting this one to the next step is extremely important. And I know Chair Falcone has been working on this for a long time. So I'm going to let you make a motion.
Thank you, Past Chair. I'll take that. But any comments before we make a motion? All right, thank you. Thank you for indulging me in making, letting me do the motion. My friend and Commissioner Eager. Just quickly, yes, this is a very complex, complicated project. Multiple jurisdictions, 2 international countries that are involved with this project. Equates to over $70 billion that cross the border every year. And that's about 560,000, I understand, in jobs that are generated by our trade corridor on the California-Mexico border. And so this is going to be an important piece to continuing for this corridor to flourish and to generate the economic development and the jobs that the corridor supports. So appreciate making the motion. Is there a second? All right, second, Commissioner Eager. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? Okay, that measure passes, or tab passes. All right, I know that we have SCCP and Ms. Habib ready to go, but I hope you don't mind, we're going to take a break. We have been requested to take a break, and I think folks need to stretch. So let's do, what, 15? 15 minutes. All right, thank you. All right, we have tabs 105 and 106 together, solutions for congested corridors. Ms. Habib.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioners, tabs 105 to 106 are action items that will be voted together. Tab 105 is an amendment to the 2022 Solutions for Congested Corridors program as provided in the book item. Tab 106 is an amendment to the multi-funded US 101 Connected Communities Corridor Rail and Active Transportation Improvements Baseline Agreement as approved by the Commission in May 2025. This project was programmed in the 2022 Solutions for Congested Corridors program and the 2023 Active Transportation Program Metropolitan Planning Organization component. The approval of tab 105 necessitates an amendment to the original baseline agreement. These requests are consistent with program guidelines. Therefore, staff recommends your approvals of tabs 105 and 106 as presented.
Thank you, Naveen. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on either item.
All right. Back at the dais, questions, comments, motion. Motion made by Commissioner Mann, seconded by Commissioner Eager. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? All right, tabs 105 and 106 passes. Thank you. All right. Tab 107, Sheila Ennis.
Thank you. Tab 107 is an action item to allocate $219,323,000 in state funds for the local assistance annual allocation for fiscal year 2026-2027. The allocation provides funding for the department to administer several state transportation subvention programs consistent with the authority delegated by the commission and the enacted state budget. Staff recommends approval of tab 107.
Thanks, Sheila. Comments?
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Okay, commissioners? Questions, comments? Motion. All right. Moved by Commissioner Eager, seconded by Commissioner Brown Hines. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? Okay. Tab 107 passes. Tab 108, Tim.
Commissioners, tab 108 is an action item to allocate $101 million for Caltrans right-of-way annual allocation for fiscal year 26-27. Each year, Caltrans requests a right-of-way capital annual allocation from the commission to deliver the right-of-way needs for program projects in the project delivery plan. The right-of-way capital annual allocation is used for State Highway Operations and Protection Program, or SHOP, and State Transportation Improvement Program, or STIP, projects with right-of-way capital programming of $10 million or less. Any project needing right-of-way capital greater than $10 million requires an individual allocation by the commission. Caltrans meets with commission staff and provides quarterly reports to show how they're managing the annual allocation. Please note the third quarter report is tab 33 on the agenda under the information calendar. Staff has reviewed the allocation request and recommends approval.
Thank you, Tim. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Thanks, Justin. Questions, comments, motion from the dais. Moved by Commissioner Eager, seconded by Commissioner Tiffany. All in favor?
Aye.
No, abstentions. All right, that item passes. Tab 109, John.
Tab 109 is an action item to make an annual allocation for the SHOP minor program. The SHOP minor program is a sub-program within the 2026 SHOP to implement relatively low-cost SHOP-eligible capital projects. The program enables Caltrans to quickly address small-scale needs beyond the scope of what can be managed by the Caltrans maintenance program. Approval of this item will allocate $250 million for the fiscal year 26-27 minor program so that Caltrans can utilize their delegated authority to allocate these funds to minor projects throughout the year in accordance with Commission Resolution G1905A. Staff recommends approval of tab 109.
Thanks, John. Public comments.
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Thank you, Justin. Questions, comments, motion from the dais? Okay, motion by Commissioner Tiffany, seconded by Commissioner Brown Hines. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? All right, tab 109 passes. Thank you, John. Tab 110, Alika.
Commissioners, tab 110 is an action item to approve the Aeronautics Resolution FDOA-2026-01 to allocate $2.5 million for the Division of Aeronautics fiscal year 2026-27 annual allocation. Each fiscal year, the Commission approves an annual allocation to match the Federal Airport Improvement Program grants. This allocation provides the authority for the Division of Aeronautics to sub-allocate matching funds to individual projects as requested by airport sponsors. Commissioners, staff recommends approval of tab 110 to allocate $2.5 million for fiscal year 26-27 for Federal Airport Improvement Program grants.
Thanks, Alika. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Questions, comments, motion by commissioners. Moved by Commissioner Eager, seconded by Commissioner Brown Hines. All in favor? Noes, abstentions. That item passes. Tabs 111, 112, 113, and 114. Back to you, John.
Yes, tabs 111 through 114 are all action items for shop allocations, and these will be taken together. Tab 111 is an action item for shop construction allocations. This item will allocate $187,140,000 for 10 shop projects. As Keith Duncan mentioned in his presentation yesterday, all 10 of these projects are in alignment with the allocation plan that was approved by the commission at the December 2025 commission meeting. 6 of these 10 projects are emergency projects. 1 of the 10 is a safety, or it's a mitigation for a safety project, so it falls under safety. 2 of the 10 are stormwater projects, so that falls under mandates. And then the last one of the 10 falls under the statewide priority bucket. It's the largest one of this item. It's an approximately $99 million allocation to replace the superstructure of the Whiskey Creek Bridge, which is a very, very much needed improvement. I'm also happy to report that this is the final commission meeting where the shop will be operating under the current allocation plan. Thanks to the rebalance that Caltrans worked very hard on earlier this year, we should be back closer to regular allocations as usual starting in August, which is great news. And then tab 112 is an action item for shop pre-construction allocations. This item will allocate $108,893,000 for 85 shop pre-construction phases for environmental, design, and right-of-way. And tab 113 is an action item for shop pre-construction allocations. It's another action item for pre-construction allocations. This item will allocate $30,279,000 for 18 shop pre-construction phases. This one specifically, this item, these are all new 2026 shop projects and are all allocations for the PA&ED phase. So these new projects can begin preliminary design and environmental studies. And the last tab of this group is tab 114. It's an action item for advanced shop construction allocations. This item will allocate $76,683,000 for 3 shop projects. These 3 projects are all programmed in the 26-27 fiscal year, which is next year, but they're ready to be allocated now. These projects, importantly, are not part of the current year shop allocation plan. These projects are planned for next year, so they're using funding that's already been planned for next year. And these are the first projects coming in using next year's funds, and they're being advanced for various reasons because they're high priority for Caltrans to get these out the door. Staff recommends approval of tabs 111, 112, 113, and 114.
Great job, John. Thank you. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on any of the listed items.
Okay, any comments, questions? Motion by commissioners.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Grisby, seconded by? Second. By Commissioner Eager. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes, abstentions. All right, tabs 111 to 114 passes. Tabs 115, 116, 117, 118, and 119. Sheila.
Thank you. Tabs 115 through 119 will be presented together with a recommendation at the end. Tab 115 is an action item requesting to allocate $1,250,000 in state transportation improvement program funds for the locally administered Western Placerville interchanges Phase 2.3 westbound off-ramp project on the state highway system in El Dorado County. The project will improve the Ray Lawyer Drive intersection and add bicycle and pedestrian facilities, enhancing safety and mobility for all users. Tab 116 is an action item requesting to allocate a total of $20,541,000 in state transportation improvement programming and planning, programming, and monitoring funds. Of this amount, $16,971,000 will fund 6 locally administered STIP construction projects in Plumas, Siskiyou, Trinity, Sacramento, and Sierra counties. Collectively, these projects will improve roadway and bridge conditions, enhance pedestrian and bicycle safety, support multimodal access, and improve the long-term reliability of local transportation infrastructure. The remaining $3,570,000 consist of planning, programming, and monitoring funds for 3 projects in Santa Cruz, Los Angeles, and Tuolumne counties. These funds will support project development, delivery, and oversight activities necessary to advance future transportation improvements. Tab 117 is an action item requesting allocation of $84,900,000 in State Transportation Improvement Program funds for the State Route 94 and State Route 125 auxiliary lanes project on the state highway system in San Diego County. This project adds auxiliary lanes and related operational improvements on State Routes 94 and 125 to reduce congestion, improve safety and travel time reliability, and enhance bicycle and pedestrian connectivity through the La Mesa corridor. Tab 118 is an action item requesting to allocate $20 million in State Transportation Improvement Program funds for the right-of-way capital phase on the State Route 99 and 120 connector project phase 1B in San Joaquin County. And this project will improve traffic operations and safety, reduce merge and weaving conflicts, and modernize interchange infrastructure. Tab 119 is an action item requesting an advanced allocation of $4,062,000 in STIP planning, programming, and monitoring funds for 8 locally administered projects programmed in fiscal year 2026-2027. These funds will support planning and project development activities and allow agencies to begin work at the start of the fiscal year, helping to maintain project schedules and support timely delivery. Staff recommends your approval of tabs 115, 116, 117, 118, and 119.
Thank you, Sheila. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on any of the listed items.
Thank you, Justin. Questions, comments, motion from the dais.
Move approval.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Guardino, seconded by Commissioner Eager. All in favor?
Aye.
Noes, abstentions? Okay, tabs 115 to 119 passes. Tab 120 back at you, Sheila.
Thank you. Tab 120 is an action item to allocate $4 million to the California Public Utilities Commission's Grade Crossing Protection Maintenance Program for fiscal year 2026-2027. This annual allocation supports the maintenance of railroad grade crossing warning devices and protective equipment at public crossings throughout the state and is authorized pursuant to Public Utilities Code Section 1231.1. Additionally, the proposed resolution is being amended to direct Commission staff to coordinate with the California Public Utilities Commission and Caltrans to reconcile historical allocations, expenditures, and balances associated with the Railroad Grade Crossing Protection Maintenance Program and report the results to the Commission by December 31st, 2026. Staff recommends your approval of tab 120.
Thank you, Sheila. Public comment.
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Thanks, Justin. Questions, comments, motion from the dais. Moved by Commissioner Bradshaw, seconded by Commissioner Tiffany. All in favor? Any abstentions? Noes? Tab 120 passes. Tab 121. Anya.
Commissioners, tab 121 is an allocation request for $30,879,000 in active transportation program, state transportation improvement program, and local partnership formulaic program funds for the Interstate 10 and Monroe Street Interstate Interchange project in Riverside County. The project will construct various improvements to the interchange and I-10, as well as a Class 4 bike and low-speed electric vehicle path, ensuring safer conditions for all travelers along the corridor and multimodal options for avoiding congestion. Staff recommends your approval of tab 121.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Anya. Public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Thank you, Justin. Any questions, comments? Motion from the dais. Moved by Commissioner Brown Hines, since it's your neighborhood. Second by Commissioner Eager. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? Okay. Thank you, Anya. Tabs 122 to 123 and 124, LaShara.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tabs 122 through 124 will be presented together with a recommendation at the end. Tab 122 is an allocation request for $15 million in local partnership competitive program funds for the Hazel Avenue US 50 Interchange Segment 1 project in Sacramento County. This project will reduce congestion, improve traffic operations, and improve infrastructure for non-motorized travelers. Tab 123 is an allocation request for a total of $12,946,000 in local partnership funds. This includes 15 projects from the local partnership formulaic program and 1 from the competitive program. The formulaic projects will provide a variety of benefits, including local road rehabilitations, safety and congestion enhancements, and bicycle and pedestrian facilities, and are located in Mendocino, Sacramento, Contra Costa, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, San Luis Obispo, Fresno, Madera, and Imperial counties. All of them. In the competitive program, the request is for $2,438,000 for the Central Ukiah Circulation Improvement Project. This project will improve non-motorized facilities by reducing stormwater inundation, updating existing facilities, and adding new sidewalks and bike lanes. Please note a small edit to Project 5 on the change list. Tab 124 is an allocation request for a total of $9,875,000 in local partnership funds. This includes 5 transit projects from the local partnership formulaic program and 1 transit project from the competitive program. The formulaic transit projects are located in, ready, Sacramento, Sonoma, and San Benito counties. Shorter list this time. And will include 19 public transit vehicles, improve transit facilities, and construct a Class 1 pathway gap closure. In the competitive program, the request is for $7,250,000 for the Southeast Los Angeles Transit Improvements Project for the Zero Emission Bus Charging Contract A component. This project will purchase and install 10 zero-emission bus charging masts, including associated infrastructure to improve bus service with speed, reliability, and enhanced customer amenities. Staff has reviewed these requests and found them to be consistent with local partnership, formulaic, and competitive program guidelines. Staff recommends your approval of tabs 122, 123, and 124.
Thank you, LaShara. Got something for everybody. And if you didn't know, Commissioner Eager in her past life was a cheerleader, so.
No big shock there.
Public comment, Justin.
There was no request to comment on any of the listed items.
All right, thank you. Any comments, questions, cheerleading? Motion from the dais. Motion by Commissioner Eager, second by Commissioner Bradshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? All right, tabs 122 to 124 passes. Thank you, LaShara. Tab 125, Kayla.
Commissioners, tab 125 is an allocation request for $934,000 in local partnership formulaic program and Turkup funds for the Travel Information and Promotion System project in Monterey County. The project will procure new fixed and mobile display fixtures to provide a unified information sharing approach over a wide variety of display technologies to give passengers access to real-time information when riding transit. This item is listed on the change list for a minor edit to the project title. Staff recommends your approval of tab 125 as noted on the change list.
Thank you, Kayla. Public comment.
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
All right, thank you, Justin. Comments, questions, motion from the dais. Motion made by Commissioner Mann, seconded by Commissioner Eager. All in favor? Noes, abstentions. Okay, that item passes. Thank you, Kayla. Tab 126, Kenneth.
Thank you, Chair. Tab 126 is an allocation request of $60,076,000 for the state-administered, multi-funded local partnership, formulaic, and competitive programs and the Trade Corridor Enhancement Program, Castroville Boulevard Interchange Project in Monterey County. The project will enhance safety for low-income residents, reduce traffic congestion, improves access for traveling visitors, and improve the quality of life for all communities along the corridor. Staff recommends your approval of tab 126.
Thank you, Kenneth. Public comment.
No, there was no request to comment on the item.
Any questions, comments, motion from the dais? I'm feeling it right here on my left.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say this is a very important project for that part of the county, and it's intersection I go through weekly, and for safety reasons, it is a lower income area as well. This is a very important project for those people, and I'm very happy to make a motion to approve. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. A motion made by Commissioner Tiffany, seconded by Commissioner Eager. All in favor? Noes, abstentions? Okay. Tab 126 passes. Back at you, Kenneth. 127, 128, and 129.
Commissioners, I will present tab 127 through 129 together with the recommendation at the end. Tab 127 is a request of $45,736,000 for two locally administered Trade Corridor Enhancement Program projects. This allocation request includes $18,369,000 for the Baker Boulevard Bridge and Zero Emission Truck Infrastructure Project bridge component. The project will replace the existing two-lane bridge with a new four-lane structure, 10-foot soldiers, and sidewalks. The second allocation request of $27,367,000 is for the Transforming Oakland's Waterfront or Town Rail Safety Improvements Project in Alameda County. This project includes new railroad and pedestrian crossings, signage, new pavement and lighting, and street lighting. This project will reduce greenhouse gas emissions, create jobs, enhance transportation equity in Oakland communities, and significantly improve the community's quality of life and enhance pedestrian safety. Tab 128 is an allocation request of $33,570,000 for the local administered Trade Corridor Enhancement Program, Interstate 605 Valley Boulevard Interchange Improvement Project in Los Angeles County. The project includes ramp modifications, intersection improvements, upgraded retaining and sound walls, and shoulder winding. The project will reduce ramp queuing, improve capacity and mobility, and enhance safety for all roadway users. Tab 129 is an allocation request of $19,002,000 for 6 state-administered Trade Corridor Enhancement Program projects. The projects will construct and install medium and heavy-duty charging infrastructure that will address needed infrastructure to accelerate the adoption of zero-emission freight vehicles, improving air quality and environmental health for the communities surrounding freight corridors. Please note that this item has a change on the change list, correcting the date of program amendment noted in the vote box. Staff recommends your approval of tabs 127, 128, and 129.
Thank you, Kenneth. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on any of the listed items.
Any questions, comments, motion from the dais? I'm feeling the vibe here. Okay. Moved by Commissioner Bradshaw, seconded by Commissioner Eager. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Noes? Okay, that item passes. Those items pass. All right, tabs 130, 131, 132, and 133. Naveen.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioners, tabs 130 to 133 are allocation requests that will be voted together. Tabs 130, 131, and 132 are allocation requests totaling $43,608,000 in the Solutions for Congested Corridors program for locally administered projects in the counties of Alameda, Los Angeles, and Ventura. Tab 133 is an allocation request for $22,257,000 in Solutions for Congested Corridors program and Active Transportation program funds for the locally administered Santa Paula Trail East Ventura Station to End of Wells Road project in Ventura County. Collectively, these projects expand active transportation, transit, and accessibility options, including for individuals with disabilities, advancing the Commission's strategic goals to move people efficiently and to ensure a healthy, multimodal environment for all Californians. These requests are consistent with program guidelines. Therefore, Commission staff recommends your approvals of tabs 130 to 133.
Thank you, Naveen. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment on any of the listed items.
Questions, comments, motion from the dais? Feeling it right here. Okay, Commissioner Grisby, did you have a comment?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I just want to speak out in favor of the Greenway in Oakland. The Bay Area has one of the best climates to bike probably in the entire nation, but not everyone has equal access. This will go through some of the most needy neighborhoods in the entire region. So I'd like to make a motion.
Absolutely. And then seconded by Commissioner Mann. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? All right, tabs 130 to 133 passes. Thank you, Naveen. Cheerleader. All right. All right, tabs 134, 135, and 136. Rebecca.
Good morning. Commissioners, tabs 134 and 135 will be taken together with a recommendation at the end. Tab 134 is an allocation request of $51,767,000 in active transportation program funds for 27 projects in various counties off the state highway system. These projects will construct a wide range of improvements for bicyclists and pedestrians by implementing safe routes to school education programs, ensuring safer conditions for people walking and biking, as well as promoting a healthy environment for all. Please note that the environmental permit for Project 4 is noted on the change list. Tab 135 is an allocation request of $2,248,000 in active transportation program funds for the Central Avenue I-80 undercrossing bike ped improvements project in Contra Costa County on the state highway system. This project will ensure a healthier environment for all by improving pedestrian bicycle access at Central Avenue I-80 undercrossing with wider sidewalks, new sidewalk level bikeways, crossing improvements, pedestrian lighting, and fencing. Staff recommends your approval of tabs 134 and 135.
Thank you, Rebecca. Public comment, Justin.
No, there was no request to comment on these items.
Okay, thank you. Back at the dais. Questions, comments, motion? Motion made by Commissioner Mann and seconded by Commissioner Bradshaw. All in favor? Noes, abstentions? Okay. Tabs 134 and 1 to 136 passes.
I actually still need to read 136. That was 134 and 135.
Yes.
Pardon me. All right, so that action was for 134 and 135. Got ahead of myself. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Tab 136 is an action item to approve an advance allocation of $6,720,000 in active transportation funds for the Mill Pass Street Crosswalk and Sidewalk Widening Project in Santa Barbara County off the state highway system. This project will create a safe corridor for active transportation users with crossing enhancements and widened sidewalks to improve neighborhood livability and school routes. Staff recommends your approval of tabs 136.
Thank you. Public comment?
There was no request to comment on item 136.
Any motion, questions, comments? Motion made by Commissioner Eager, seconded by Commissioner Mann. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? Right. Tab 135 passes. It's 136. Thank you. 137, Rebecca.
Thank you again. Commissioners, 137 is an allocation request of $46,905,000 in local transportation climate adaptation program funds for 3 projects located in Orange, Sacramento, and Yuba counties off the state highway system. These projects will upgrade and protect the transportation system and prioritize the safety of all users from flooding by removing stormwater from surface streets, upgrading floodgate systems, and mitigating slope failure. Please note that the environmental permit for Project 1 is noted on the change list. With that, staff recommends your approval of tab 137.
Thank you. Public comment?
There was no request to comment on 137.
Questions, comments, motion from the dais? Motion made by Commissioner Mann, seconded by Commissioner Tiffany. All in favor? Noes, abstentions? All right, tab 137 passes. Thank you, Rebecca. 138, Brandy.
Hi, Commissioners. Tab 138 is an allocation request totaling $524,220,000 for 20 transit and intercity rail capital program projects in various counties. These projects expand and improve California's intercity, commuter, and rail systems and bus and ferry transit systems, including integration with the high-speed rail system, increasing ridership, improving safety, and significantly reducing emissions of greenhouse gases, vehicle miles traveled, and congestion. Please note the updates to projects 15, 16, and 20 as reflected in the change list. Staff recommends your approval of tab 138.
Thank you, Brandy. Public comment?
There was no request to comment on the item.
Okay. We have a comment or a question by Commissioner Eager.
Just a quick comment. I know some of these interact with high-speed rail and some of our other partners. And I think this particular project list shows what we need to do in this state is, this is one big transportation project, the state of California. And so this integration is really important. So I'd like to make a motion when it's time, but I think you have another comment.
Oh, no, I
Yes,
just want a second.
Commissioner
A matter of fact, I wanted to back up what you're saying. This is the way it should be done to support the coming rail network backbone of the state, and I'd like to second.
Excellent. Motion made by Commissioner Eager, seconded by Commissioner Grisby. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? Okay, that tab passes. Thank you.
Go high-speed rail.
Yeah.
Does your pocket feel a little bit emptier? It's like 500 and. You have any more in there? Just kidding. All right. Tabs 139 to 181. Justin.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll be addressing tabs 139 through 181 together. These are action items consisting of time extension requests for projects from the following programs: State Highway Operation and Protection Program, State Transportation Improvement Program, Local Partnership Program, Trade Corridor Enhancement Program, Solutions for Congested Corridors Program, Active Transportation Program, Local Transportation Climate Adaptation Program, and the Transit City and Intercity Rail Capital Program. Please make note of the change list for tabs 161, 163, 165, 168, and 171. Also note for tab 161, there is a revision the total funding amount from $5,946,000 to $5,061,000. And a change to the project title to EV Realty Livermore Charging Hub. This item is related to reference number 4.24, and these changes will be reflected on the final change list. Tab 168 added language to add more clarification for projects 2 through 7. Also, for tab 171, there was a mistake on the change list, and all 38 projects under tab 171 are being recommended for approval, including project 1, PPNO 2480. Staff has reviewed these requests and determined they are consistent with the respective program guidelines. Staff recommends your approval of tabs 139 through 181.
Thank you, Justin. Any public comment?
No, there was no request to comment from any of our virtual attendees on any of these listed items.
Thank you, Justin. We do have a comment in the room, Alicia Winokur.
Hi, good morning. Mendocino County Department of Transportation just wants to thank the commission for their consideration of the time extensions on these important LTCAP projects, particularly our two projects of Brook Trails Second Access and the Redemeyer Road Extension, which both seek to provide second access routes for emergency evacuations to vulnerable communities, including tribal lands. So thank you.
Thank you for being here. Are any comments, questions, motion from the dais?
Motion to
Yes.
approve. Oh, sorry. Second.
We do have.
I just wanted to make a quick comment.
Comment.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. So item 150 is the Centennial Corridor in Kern County. I know we've been hearing about that forever, and many of you have been on that corridor and talked to the folks about getting that to the place that it is now. So I just want to thank the staff and Caltrans and everyone to get us to this place where we're continuing to move forward on that very important corridor right there. So thank you.
Great. Thank you for your comments. Yes, Commissioner Tiffany.
I wasn't a cheerleader, but I was in the band. But I did want to also make a mention that one of the items here is in my home county, San Bernardino County. It's just kind of wrapping up Highway 156, which is a project that was over 20 years in the making. It's made a huge impact in our community for those people that are commuting out of town up to Silicon Valley and to Monterey County. Still have Highway 25 to do, but anyway, I'm very supportive of this and glad to see it come to fruition.
Thank you for your comments. I felt the motions here on the right. All right, so the motion was made by Commissioner Bradshaw, seconded by Commissioner Crispy. Did you have a comment, Commissioner? Perfect. All right. All in favor? Any noes, abstentions? All right, all of those motions tabs pass. Thank you. We are now at tab 182. Alika.
Commissioners, tab 182 is an action item to consider a post-fact time extension for the period of project development expenditure for the City of Sonora's State Route 49 Gold Rush Multi-Use Path Phase 1 project located in Tuolumne County. This time extension request is for the PA&ED phase, which was allocated June 2023. Because this project resides primarily on the state highway system, an oversight agreement between the city and department was required, which resulted in a 1-year delay in the start of the phase to June 2024. There was confusion on the timely use of funds deadline, which led to miscommunication between the department and the city. For this reason, the city never submitted a time extension request for the period of project development expenditure of this phase. In May 2026, 2 additional resources were discovered that were not found during the original archaeological survey. The city is working with the department to expedite the review process. This has caused further delays in the project phase requiring additional time. Commissioners, staff has reviewed this item and recommends approval of tab 182.
Thank you, Alika. Public comment.
There's no request to comment on the item.
Thank you, Justin. Questions, comments, motion from the dais? Yes, Commissioner Tiffany.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to address this to someone from Caltrans. I don't know if that's D or
That'd be D.
is D out there. Sorry to make you walk all the way to the front. Good morning. This project is, I'm in support of approving the extension, but coming myself from a rural area, I know that many times counties in rural areas don't have the resources, the staffing to necessarily stay on top of things as well as some of the larger counties. And also they don't deal with these kind of projects. I think this is the first time for Sonora in terms of an ATP project. And so I think it really behooves Caltrans to make sure that they work closely with these situations so that there isn't miscommunication. I'm just wondering, what steps is Caltrans taking to maybe try to avoid this kind of thing happening in the future? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tiffany. Absolutely. We work closely with our district local assistants as well. I do want to commend all the work that they've done hand in hand with agencies, especially our local agencies that are either more disadvantaged or staff turnover or the lack of, I wouldn't say the lack, but the need for more assistance. So what we do is it's project by project as well. So there's definitely technical assistance there. As headquarters in the way we manage our program, we do look at ways to streamline and ways to further inform our districts and our agencies. And it comes in the form of training, more focused, targeted training. We provide that whether it's project by project or whether it's programmatic. In this situation, definitely there are ways that we're going to improve our letters and our documentation as far as further direction on the difference of various critical dates. So it is a definitely continuous improvement process across the state for local assistance and our agencies.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that response.
Thank you.
And I'll make a motion for approval.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Tiffany. Second by Commissioner Eager. All in favor?
Aye.
No's, abstentions? Okay, that item passes. We have tabs 183 to 193, and I understand that Matthew will be taking those up.
Yes, I will, Chair.
Make it good.
So tabs 183 through 193 are all actions to approve amended time extensions, which are all considered exceptions to the respective program guidelines. These involve the SHOP program, the Solutions for Congested Corridors program, the Trade Corridor Enhancement program, the Local Transportation Climate Adaptation program, and the Active Transportation program. I do want to note a few things before I ask for your vote to approve. Please note and recognize that the tabs 188 and 190 have items listed on the change list. Specifically for tab 188, I do want to call in a specific sentence into the record that I do not believe made it into the change list. So under tab 188, the department's recommendation is that the commission amend the project allocation periods because the program funds would be lost and could not be programmed in the Local Transportation Climate Adaptation Program. This program is closed out with no chance of additional funding. Therefore, there would be no chance for future projects to receive these funds. Likewise, there are no existing eligible projects to which these funds could be transferred. Finally, these funds are already aging and at the risk of expiring, and there is no chance of a separate call for projects to find a new project to allocate these funds towards. So with those noted changes, staff will recommend your approval of tabs 183 through 193.
Thank you, and thank you for highlighting the change, Matthew. Any public comment?
Yes, we do have two virtual attendees with their hand raised at this time. I'd like to call on Nafili Barrett.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. This is Nafili Barrett, Executive Director of the Mendocino Council of Governments, and I am speaking today about the first and second projects on tab 188, the Redemeyer Road Extension and Brook Trail's second access, both LTCAP projects. Both projects have been identified as needs in the Mendocino County region for many years by the public, local agencies, and other stakeholders. As a geographically large rural county with a large road network and very little formula funding available to either the county or the region for maintaining and improving the road network, Mendocino County must rely on competitive funding for projects of this magnitude. The LTCAP provided a somewhat unique opportunity to finally fund these large projects. The first project, Redemeyer Road, is the only ingress-egress for a residential area in the Ukiah Valley. It serves an area within a very high fire hazard severity zone. The area, which is on the east side of the Russian River, is also often cut off during severe weather events due to roadway flooding, leaving residents without access to jobs, schools, and emergency services. This extension will provide a second access to the area during times of emergency evacuation and a reliable route when the existing access road is closed due to flooding. The second project, Brook Trail's second access, is in a residential area with a single ingress-egress near the city of Willits. It's in a mountainous wooded area and provides one of the few opportunities in the county for affordable housing options. The project will provide a second access, allowing easier evacuation in times of emergency and improving access to the area for emergency responders. The current single access road, Sherwood Road, is a narrow and curving road with no shoulders in many areas, with widening opportunities severely limited by topography. These conditions make Sherwood Road subject to potential blockage during emergency events, as well as make it unsafe for walking and biking. So although not the primary purpose of this project, the second access with its paved shoulders will also provide a safer option for pedestrians and cyclists to reach the city of Willits. We encourage approval of the extensions to allow the county to continue with development of these critical projects. And I also want to note
Your time is expired.
Oh, thank you.
Up next, we have Kelly Brinkman.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
My name is Kelly Brinkman, and I'm one of the tenants affected by the SR 710 home sales process. I'm here asking this commission to do two
Ms.
simple
Brinkman,
things.
we are hearing comments for tabs 183 through 193.
This
Is
is
your
for
comment
180.
related to?
Okay, then I'll save mine to public comment because I know
Thank
that's
you.
coming up because we missed 44. Don't know what happened to 44. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brinkman, for waiting. We will be going to public comment shortly. Any other public comment?
No, there were no other requests to comment.
Any questions, comments, motion from the dais? Yes, Commissioner Mann, did you have a comment as well? Okay, motion made by Commissioner Mann and second by Commissioner Bradshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions? All right, so tabs 183 to 193 passes. Public comment. Ms. Brinkman, are you still online?
Yes, I am.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay. Okay. Didn't know we were coming that fast. I'm here asking this commission to do two simple things. First, direct Caltrans to pause any home sales when a tenant requests it. Second, remove Caltrans and VRG Group from administering these sales and replace them with an independent party that has no financial stake in the outcome. Truth is, Caltrans and VRG have had every opportunity to get this right, and they have failed. They have used their discretion to create a process that tenants don't trust, where sales price ignore the true condition of these neglected homes and leave families carrying the burden of decades of deferred maintenance. The legislature already recognizes there's a problem. AB 2329 will require sales prices to reflect a home's actual condition and repair costs, not inflated market values. But many tenants, especially in El Sereno, are left unprotected. That's why we are here today. We don't need another report to tell us what tenants have lived through the years. We don't need more promises. We need action. This commission has already discussed moving surplus property away from Caltrans. It's time to follow through. If a process is broken, you don't keep handing it back to the people who broke it. Use your authority, pause the sales, remove Caltrans and VRG from the process. Give tenants a fair, transparent path forward. Because after decades of uncertainty, we've earned at least that much. And I'd like to comment that I am fair market value. And I received my letter from VRD and it makes no sense at all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your patience and hanging in with us. Any other public comments?
Yes, I see two other hands raised at this time from our virtual attendees. Up next, we have Sean Salazar. Sean Salazar, you've been unmuted. You're free to comment at this time. Do not see Sean coming off mute, so I will move to the next hand raise I see, which is Nafili Barrett.
Hi, yes, thank you. Again, Nafili Barrett, MCOG Executive Director. You heard me speak just a moment ago about our two LTCAP funded projects. So I wanted to just take another moment and talk about the importance of funding programs like that to rural communities. We don't have a lot of formula funding available, but we do have a lot of needs. And I know Mendocino County is not alone in this. This is common across almost all rural counties in California. We have a lot of emergency evacuation needs, and it's very hard to fund those projects. So I know LTCAP is done. We just heard about that, but I wanted to express support for any future programs that will provide similar funding for emergency access projects and improvements to emergency evacuation routes. Thank you for your time.
We're going to try Sean Salazar one more time. Sean Salazar, I saw you come off mute briefly, but you're now back on mute. You're free to unmute yourself at this time and speak. I'm seeing Sean come off mute at this time. And there are no other requests to comment.
Thank you, Justin. Any comments from commissioners before I close out? Yes, Commissioner Guardino.
Thank you, Chair Falcone. It is so wonderful to be here in Folsom. And I just want to take the opportunity again to expand on someone who I mentioned very briefly this morning in the context of an agenda item. And that person, I think, has impacted not only a lot of our work individually and collectively in transportation in this state, but has impacted the state overall. I first had the opportunity to meet him when I was a very young legislative aide, and he was working for Caltrans under then Caltrans Director Leo Tramatola, working on safety improvements on Highway 152. He was recruited after the first countywide self-help county sales tax campaign was passed in 1984 in Santa Clara County to lead that effort. And because of how successfully he and leaders in Santa Clara County led that effort, it paved the way for the Self-Help County Coalition, which he then successfully built a coalition around, was able to pass state legislation that rewarded counties who tax themselves rather than penalize counties for taxing themselves, with the opportunities for more funds from the state. He went on to be the director of Caltrans. He was our executive director here at the California Transportation Commission. And he is just been a legend for mobility improvements in our state. And he taught me how to run hills successfully as well. So I'm hoping that we can all thank, and I'm going to ask him to stand, Will Kimpton for all he has done for our state. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Guardino. And it is good to see you, Mr. Kempton. When I started my legislative career as well, I knew of you, and I know that you had a lot to do with some of the projects that we initiated in San Diego when you were Caltrans director. So thank you for your work up and down the state. So this is the last meeting for the fiscal year. And all in total, we have allocated $13.7 billion. And I think the total jobs created needs to be updated from our agenda, but what it says is about 124,811, but I think that's a conservative number. So I just want to thank, first of all, my fellow commissioners. All of you have a lot of heart and bring your perspective and your time and your talent to these commission meetings, every hearing. And I just want to say that I am honored to serve with each and every one of you. You come in with a lot of perspective and knowledge from each of the areas that you come from. And so I want to thank you. I also want to thank staff. You make our jobs easy, but I know that there's a lot of work that comes before us, and in cooperation with all of your partners in our state agencies and our regional partners and working with advocates. I am deeply thankful for each and every one of you and the work that you all do. And to all of you, thank you for hanging tight these past couple days and all the hearings that we've had this fiscal year. It has generated a lot of progress and productivity, obviously. And so we look forward to the next fiscal year. And so for our next hearing in San Diego, I hope to see all of you there. It is a special time, particularly for me, to have a hearing in San Diego. We try to make it special for you all, so do come down with your sunscreen and hopefully you spend a little bit of extra time there. And to close out this hearing, we're going to do a little bit of something different. And I had a couple of folks that are helping me with this. I'm not into gavels, but I am into disco balls. And we're going to end a Friday afternoon with some 90s hip hop. We made sure that the lyrics were appropriate. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, Sheila. And with that, we are adjourning for our June hearing. Go ahead. Music, please. All right. Safe travels, everyone.